Hello everyone and welcome to, yes, the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in the Southeast Portland. And the question I have for you today is, are you a toy reseller? Are you a flipper? That is the question. But here's what the discussion is going to be about. We're going to be talking about seller platforms, specifically eBay and the monopoly it has, and we're going to go through and I'm going to show you why they have that monopoly, because I'm willing to bet that just about everybody out there who resells action figures, right, does it on eBay, although there are other platforms available, and some of you I'm sure have dabbled for one reason or another on these platforms. Maybe you bought something off there, maybe you sold something off there. But the fact remains that eBay is the monopoly, and it is the #1 platform where everybody goes to buy and sell. And of course, I'm going to discuss what it would take, right, to knock eBay off the #1 spot as the monopoly and replace it. And I'm also going to tell you why it's not going to happen, at least not for a long time. So, you know the drill, people. We come together, we strap on the leather, and we hold on tight. I have prepared today for you, because I love, let's face it, I've prepared for you today some slides, and just three, hey, whoa, just 3 slides, okay? It's not going to be one of those things. And we're going to go through these, and they're going to be some sort of talking aids so that I can talk about the stuff and you can look at something on the screen other than me, although, look, I love the British Empire. Okay, let's switch over to what we're talking about. We're talking about eBay. And we're talking about its monopoly. And the first thing is the law of commerce. Now, this is a phrase which I have coined, but it is not some sort of, big concept that you couldn't come up with on your own. In fact, if you haven't thought of this on your own, maybe that's kind of the big thing that you should think about is, stuff like this. It is this: the most amount of sellers are looking for the most amount of buyers. This is very, very simple. What this means is that people selling stuff are looking for a lot of people to buy stuff. Why? Because that drives the price up. That is demand. They're looking for the most amount of demand. And of course, on the flip side of it, if you go below that, you'll see the most amount of buyers are looking for the most amount of sellers. Why is that? Because the more sellers, the more supply, the more competition, the more they're willing to cut their prices and come down to make a sale. Also, just the more there is to choose from. So, this is what's known as the seesaw effect, and it equals the monopoly of market share. Basically, what happens is when you get that critical amount, that over sort of, 50-some X%, and the seesaw starts to go a certain direction, it drags everything with it. This is very important. This is why eBay has a monopoly. Now, this is more than just eBay. This actually occurs with everything. This is going to occur with, like, dating apps. This is going to occur with, like, Google AdSense, where, like, people looking to buy ads are looking for the most amount of, like, traffic. People looking to sell ads are looking for the most amount of, people to buy them, that kind of thing. So it's not just eBay, it's everything. There's always going to be this monopoly that as soon as you get the most market share, everything slides into it, all right? Now, this is a very important concept because we're going to ask some questions now. And the questions are, what can move the seesaw, right? Well, the answer is very simple. It is the sellers. It is the sellers who, if they all pick up and move to another platform, I'm talking not 100% at the first go, but if they get to a critical amount and it flips over, right, everyone will have to follow. This is the law of commerce with the seesaw effect. And the reason for this second question is because of profit, why the sellers will move and not the buyers. Obviously, buyers aren't all going to go to a platform where there's nothing for sale. It doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. But sellers will move to a different platform if they can make more money on this other platform. So if you're a cat like me and you're selling action figures and you're like, look, man, I'm selling this stuff, but I'm just not really making any money on it, and you go to another platform and you're like, wow, I make more money here. Well, guess what? You're going to go to that platform. If you are a person who's disgruntled with the sales, you're going to start to look around. And so we're going to get to our last and final slide. What will upset eBay? Well, essentially, people will start to go to other platforms to sell their action figures if there's an abuse of the sellers, and it's because of profits, meaning they're not making any money. So if eBay keeps raising their prices, or, which I think is really weird, they always side with the buyers whenever there's a dispute. And I know that there's some cats out there, maybe even some watching the show, who have been ripped off by buyers, where they sent them a thing and the buyer said they got it broken or they didn't arrive, or you know, I've even seen one where a guy would sell something, the person would then return it, and they would send them back a different thing. They would swap it out for a broken one that they had, right? And eBay always sides with the people who are buying, and I think that's really weird, because if you abuse the sellers, they will get mad and they will leave your platform, and if enough of them leave, you will lose the monopoly and eBay will cease to exist. But you have to know that it's because of money, and it is not because of features. For example, you've probably heard, and if you haven't, you're hearing it now, another platform, a competitor platform, is called Whatnot. And what Whatnot is they basically do live auctions, right? Why would you want to go to Whatnot? Well, you would go to Whatnot if you're not making money off eBay, and you can make money off of Whatnot. Why would you, as a person who wants to buy stuff, go to Whatnot? Well, maybe you find stuff there, maybe you find deals there that you can't find anywhere else. That might be a reason to do this. However, how difficult is it for the eBay to implement the feature of live auction, right? Well, they're already doing it, and if they were smart, they would have approached somebody like YouTube and tried to do some type of a cool partnership, because every once in a while there are live streams where they do things like giveaways, but every once in a while there's live streams where they do some type of art auction, or you're watching someone's live stream and they say, hey, on my eBay page, during the show, this item is going to be discounted. So if you go there now, I'll put a link in the chat. You go there now, you can buy it. People are already doing that. It seems perfectly legit for eBay to partner with somebody and to partner with somebody like YouTube, but they don't even really need to. They can do their live auctions whenever they want. So any feature that a competitor has, like whether it was a buy it now feature or a send offer to seller or local pickup, they can always spend the money and implement that. So it's not going to be features, it's going to come down to sellers and their profits. If they can make more profit somewhere else, they're going to go somewhere else. Now, here's the big question, all you toy sellers, toy buyers. What is the chance of this happening? Well, the chance of this happening is extremely slim, right? eBay is going to have this monopoly for a long time, because it would take, let me read this to you. It's a slide. I made the slide. Let's read it. Would take big money investor willing to lose millions in order to attract all the buyers. And I want you to envision Amazon, who for years operated at a loss. Amazon lost millions and millions of dollars until they finally, like a cockroach, outlived all the brick and mortar retail stores that they put out of business. Now they kind of have a sort of semi-monopoly onto themselves in terms of like the online retail shipping, and they continue to try and make it easier and easier to choke out any competitors in the brick and mortar space, right? So it would take a company like an Amazon to come in and basically lose money every year by trying to attract the sellers with higher profits, right, until that they got the seesaw effect and they had the majority of the people, in which case everyone else would follow. Once you realize, if you're a seller and you realize that everyone's on another platform and they're making money and you're not making money because the buyers are now moving over there, right? The buyers are going where the sellers go. You're going to go over there too. In fact, that's how eBay came to exist, right? Did it not? So who is going to actually go in and lose millions and millions of dollars, especially if it would take so much money that it would be more than what eBay is worth, meaning you can't do this because there ultimately is no business. It already exists. You might as well just buy eBay at this point. Well, I would love to hear what other people think. If you buy or sell, what you think of this concept of the monopoly. Of course, there are several competitors out there. Let's mention eBay, Etsy, Mercari, whatnot, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, which eBay actually bought a portion of through some sort of a weird shareholder kind of deal. More on that maybe in another video. And of course, if you sell music gear, there's Reverb. Now, there could be some specific action figure sites for just people selling action figures, but the reality of the matter is that there's going to be people out there always who inherit stuff, or they've just got a bunch of crap laying around and they themselves are not resellers who are out there doing it as a store for a living, and they just want to get rid of the junk, and if they get any money, fine. And in which case, they're not going to go to some action figure specific 411 site. They're going to go to eBay. Why? Because the most amount of buyers, most amount of sellers want each other. And so that is where we're at today. Thanks to everybody who made it this far into the video. I do appreciate it. And, you know, of course, as always, folks, stay charged.